this is Roger, thanks for dropping by. This is everything in bloom on the 8th, on the 10th. I don't think I've been 2 days late with this before, but things are backing up basically. I've got now filmed material for several more videos to go to take me into next week. And that's not including the project orchids, which I need to get the second one of those done. So I've gone from not being able to think of anything to film to having so much that I'm going to have a tidy up. Anyway, first things first, obviously yesterday I went to Burnham's. I didn't come back empty-handed. And even though there's blooms involved in that bag, they are not part of this because they will be a separate video. So we're not doing those in this video. Those will be an unbagging video. And we've got a strange combination in there because one of the plants, I don't even really like the blooms. But I've got it for a different reason. See if you can work out what that reason might be. And the other one is something, I'm not buying any more of these, and I've come home with one of those as well. So two plants that are, one's a silly choice for here, and the other one is strange, shall we say. Right, so that's that out of the way. I've got all the clips from Burnham's to put together into 1 or 2 videos. I've got my field trip where I stumbled across quite a rare orchid and didn't expect to find it, including the one I went to find, and a couple of others thrown in. Nice sort of day out. Sun managed to catch my face and the top of my head through the thinning thatch, so that was good fun. Anyway, so quite a bit in the can, as they say. Just a matter of putting them together and spreading them out over the time. What is it today? Thursday. So Saturday, then Sunday chat. Yeah, we'll be into next week before I can clear those out. And as I said, in there somewhere I need to get the next one of the project orchids. Anyway, everything in bloom. Now I'm cheating a little bit today because at least in one case the blooms are almost gone, and in another case they haven't really opened properly, but I'm putting them in anyway. This is my video. So that's how we're going to go. Plus I've got a really strange thing that I must show you. I mustn't forget it either because it's not visible from here. Right, so we'll start where we usually do with the Latoria. Pop-ups will be there for plant names, saves me remembering. This one is starting to go now. Several of the canes have lost their buds altogether. You know, this one's down to 1 instead of 2. This is still looking good. There's one going here, but we've still got one cane. There's one going up the back there. There's still got one cane with 3 buds on that haven't even opened yet. So this is going to be in bloom at least another 3 months, which is, it's going to be a ridiculous amount of time in total. But, you know, they're still looking good. They're still looking good. Lovely patterning and all that. And so say, most Latorias hang, so you know, if you can get them up high and look up at them, you get a much nicer appreciation of their shape and their colour. But they're not a bright light orchid, so you have to go down. If you start raising them up to be able to stand underneath them and look at them, you may be getting a bit close to your roof. So go steady there. So that's that one. As this one's sort of in the way a bit at the moment, we'll do this one next. This is the Friedrichianum that got the award. If it was going in now, it wouldn't get the award. It's nowhere near as good as it was in that particular year. The year before, I just had a massive amount of new growth on the plant. It went absolutely mad, and then at the subsequent time, all that lot bloomed at the same time. Well, what we've got here is we've got some new growth up the top. Those will be for next year. These ones with the leaves on that are blooming now, they will bloom again next year in some of the gaps. And then we've got some of the older leafless canes with a few buds on. And we've got some canes that did this last year, like this, and they're never going to bloom again. And I'll be going round to trim those off soon on the grounds that this will be my entry into the competition this month. Right, so the Hercoglossum is fading fast, but we've still got buds. So again, it's still going to be in bloom for some time, but we're losing a lot. You know, they're going over. They don't last a huge amount of time. Some buds have just opened. They're much deeper purple colour. Yeah, some still to go. There's actually still quite a few buds on there, so it's going to be in bloom for another 2 or 3 weeks. There's a nice cluster of newly opened ones up there that look good, and they're against the light, which makes them look even better. So I hope the camera's picking that up okay. So that's that one. And then the next one I'm going to have to get down, and I'm going to have to eat my words, and I don't do this very often. But some plants are just put in there to test your patience. How many times have I said on this type of dendrobium, once the cane has bloomed, it will never bloom again? Well, blow me. The little tyke has snuck 2 blooms out right at the very base of the cane. Little devil. Now this one, we've got a kiki down here growing some roots. We've got another one just started, and another one. I've got 3 reasonable kikis on this plant, plus the growth at the base, plus one pushing out from an older cane. And all of those kikis, when they get a bit bigger than that with roots, they're all coming up here. And I'm going to tease off the old moss and put some new moss on with all these kikis in one place, so that eventually we will have a much bigger plant with many canes in bloom instead of just the one that it normally does. So yeah, well pleased with that. Very unusual. Let's put that back where it goes for now. Right, and now, cobweb on my nose, that's got to go. Right, let's get round here then. The epidendrum is still in bloom. Hercoglossum's in the way, let me just move that. The epidendrum is still in bloom round here, but I don't think it's going to be in bloom too much longer. It's a very weak plant. It is starting to grow some new growths from quite close to the base, but these do tend to produce kikis as a natural event. And the roots do eventually get down, or they weigh the cane over so that they get nearer to the ground and then root. But there's not a lot of new buds coming. So I don't think it's going to be in bloom a huge amount longer, quite honestly. Which is a shame, because it's a brilliant splash of orange to look forward to. But it's been in bloom some time, you know, and sometimes you just have to sort of count your blessings. And to have this around with all this colour is really good. Right, so that's the epidendrum. And coming round here, I'm counting this because they haven't fallen off yet. This was the strange behaviour of the Jenkinsii, and it actually pushed out one spike long after all the other blooms had gone. And this was as a consequence of, for those who didn't see, if you look at the shape of the mount, it's got a hell of a curve on it. And where it was placed, one end of it, like if you imagine looking at it like this, if you were the bright light coming in the glass, that end got the bright light and this end didn't. So this end had hardly any blooms on, and it just pushed out that one that was sort of halfway along, just about caught some light. But it does go to prove that if that doesn't get the brighter light in the winter, it's not going to bloom very well. So that's that. The previous Tolumnia that we've been looking at quite a lot has now gone, but it's been replaced by this new one. And this is one of the more recent ones that came from Schwerter. And I am well pleased with this one. Well pleased. First of all, it's a colour changer. When the blooms, sorry, let me wait for it to stop waggling around. If it's going to, let's put it up against something, that'll stop it. Right, so I'll have to focus in on these individually. So let's do this one first. Right, so this is what they look like when they just open. And the top part of the plant is a lovely deep velvety red, as is the centre. And then multiple dots, a huge amount of patterning, hell of a lot, in the same deep burgundy red. And a lovely creamy colour to the base of the rest of the plant. Then, with his head in Hercoglossum, we come round to what they look like after they've been open a few days. And you start seeing the pink tinge and the creamy colour of the base turns to white. So I don't know how much more, this is only recently opened, so I don't know how much more pink I'm going to get, but that is an attractive Tolumnia, and these are quite a good size. These are not bad at all, so I'm well pleased with that one. And it's already got its first branch, with 2 more buds to come. And we've still got more buds to open at the end here. So that's a nice Tolumnia spike. I like that one a lot. And then the Comet King, the first couple of blooms to open are on their way out now, but then these followed on afterwards, so we do still have Comet King in bloom. For some strange reason, I remembered the yellow in Comet King being deeper than that, but yeah, well, perhaps the memory's not as good as it used to be. But this is still looking good, and a Nobly out at this time of year is probably more unusual than not. I'm not going to say it's never heard of, because that's obviously wrong, but they do tend to be late winter, early spring, but some do move on towards the summer months. This is one of them, it seems. So quite late in the year, but lovely coloration in the centre. You know, it's a good combination, and these are a reasonable size, not bad at all. Right, let me come round to the little Miltoniopsis. This is the primary hybrid that came from Burnham's last time I went. That's funny. Boy, did that catch my eye. I've got a folder of orchid photographs of plants that I've had or lost. So they're ones that have been with me and bloomed but are no longer with me for one reason or another. Some died, some were just thrown out because they were going downhill, and some were passed on or sold, you know. But this one I had a very long time ago and didn't know what it was. The person I got it from didn't know what it was. And it died. So when I saw this at Burnham's, I spotted the flower from quite a distance away, and I thought, I'm having that. So I went straight out and got it. Now I know what it is, and the fact that it's a primary hybrid makes it even better. And knowing the parents and what their blooms look like, I can see how some of these no ID type hybrids, I can see where they've got their patterning from and things like that. But again, very, very attractive bloom. I don't know how close I can get. I'm filming quite early in the day, so I haven't got well, it's a cloudy day today. Typical, we have an event in the sky. We have a partial eclipse of the sun today. Are we going to see it? Are we hell? This is the UK, it's cloudy. Whenever there's an event in the sky, it's cloudy or raining, and true to fact today. Right, so then up above, we've got the Dendrobium black hair type that is still in bloom. I think these blooms have got a hint of starting to fade now, but they've been open a very, very long time. Now I'm going to have to hit the focus point and then get the leaves out the way so that I can get in closer. So we should be able to get a reasonable close-up of that. If I can view it from the side slightly, you might be able to see the hairy portion of the lip that sticks up through the centre lower part of the lip. It's hairy. They're quite stiff, like bristles more than hairs, I suppose. But yeah, this has been open quite a while now. Well pleased with that, because I didn't know what to expect. And a very faint fragrance of tangerines, that one. But it is faint. You've got to get your nose in there, as they say. Right, coming round here, up above me head, and it always seems to... It's always up here because it seems to grow well and bloom well up here, so why move it? As they say, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Victoria Regina Cross, and although it'll have a period when there's actually no blooms open, there's normally some buds following on behind. But this particular cane is looking very good because there's quite a few clusters opened at the same time. So it almost looks like the whole of the end of the cane is in bloom. So that's looking good. The nearer they are to the roof, the paler they are. The farther away, the darker they are. So obviously the light pales them a bit. which gives me the impression perhaps the light's a bit too bright for it, but it grows well. It grows, you can see there's lots of nice long new canes up there, and there's more coming from the base of the plant, so it's growing well. So that's that one. Now I'm counting this, even though I shouldn't, because it's not fully open, but the Brassia verrucosum, one of those two pop-ups, sea breeze, that again came from Burnham's, while I was away yesterday, managed to start opening a couple of blooms. They will be fully open in a day or two, but you can at least see the colours and the patterning. Let me see if I can get the central focus point. I can get in a bit closer so you can see the colours. Lovely patterning, but basically it's three tones, this one. You've got the creamy colours, you've got the green and the white of the lip. And that's it. It's just the three colours, and yet they work well together. The blooms will get bigger than that. It's another one, it's a little bit like Vanda's. The blooms actually open and then they carry on growing in size, so they get a bit bigger as they go along. So that's that one. What else we got around here? Right, well we've got the this one, again, black hair type, incredibly long-lasting blooms. These two have been open a very long time. You know, I do everything in bloom on the 8th, or near enough, each month. And this one's been in quite a few videos, so it's been around a while. And this bloom has only just opened. So again, like the Latoria type that we looked at, that's still got buds to open, and they last about 3 months. This is going to be with us a long time. These two will go eventually, and this one will be on its own for a while. But yeah, lovely, virtually transparent petals on this, very attractive, and that colour in the lip is just gorgeous. See how close I can get. Beautiful deep colour there. And there's a set of those very similar looking plants as Formosum, Infundibulum, Lowii. They all have similar blooms, bordering on totally pure white, and a shade of yellow through orange in the lip. All very similar, all bloom near the top of the canes, and all grow relatively tall for the type. So that's that. Right, tucked in here we've got the little one of Derek's that's come out, and both the blooms are open now, so I'm in a position that I can take a nice photograph of those, and then that spike needs to come off. I need to put the strength into the plant. It's a very weak plant, hardly any roots, so let's get the plant going and then we'll see them again. If we take all the strength out of the plant, we may never see them again. So that's that one. It's looking nice. Very subdued colours. I mean, some of the Odontoglossum traits are very bright and others are very subdued. That's more subdued, that one. And we have a point of order. I did say that the Neeviem, the blooms are very, very small. Well, when you get to see the video from Burnham's, I deliberately put my hand next to the blooms on one of theirs to show the size compared to my fingers, and as I said, they're at least twice the size of these. These are minute. They are not the right size. They're too small. It is the right plant. I think it's just struggling on the grounds that this is lots of tiny little pieces that I'm hoping will root and shouldn't really have bloomed. But again, you know, these are attractive blooms. Odontoglossum, cool grower. Nice patterning on the blooms, very attractive. But as I said, the one at Burnham's, the blooms are twice that size, exactly the same in colouring and everything like that, but twice as big. Right, that's that one, and then I'm cheating again to end with, but I don't care. Oh no, that's the bread maker. So I have to say that now when that alarm goes off, because everybody rushes and checks their phones and checks their burglar alarms and things. Especially when it first went off, the first time it was on video. So many people said that they rushed to check their own gadgets, if you know what I mean. But the Pabstia also opened its first bud yesterday while I was away. Now, this isn't fully open yet, but it's good enough to be able to get a shot. The trouble is, I've got to get down very low, and bending my legs and my neck is not working today. We are very stiff, but we'll walk it off. Basically, I know why my neck aches. My field trip, I had my DSLR around my neck with a long lens on. And I did quite a lot of bending over, looking at things, so the DSLR was hanging around my neck a lot of the time, and that was a long time I was out as well. So I think that's what's done my neck, and my legs, it was just walking up and down those flipping hills over such a length of time. But let's see if I can get this to focus in the centre and bend down a bit and hopefully manage to get up again. We are definitely achy today. So that's just come back to greet us. They're not long-lived, but and last time we had a pair. We've got a pair of buds again this time, and but these are all my own work. You know, this is my new growth and my buds, so I'm well pleased with that. And yeah, a relative of the Zygopetalums, quite a close relative as well. So very similar growth patterns and growth style. Shape of pseudobulbs, leaves, all that sort of stuff, very, very similar to Zygos. And equally awkward if you don't get the timing right on the repot. Yeah? Just before the roots start is perfect, providing you can predict that on your plant, or when you can see them and, you know, they're of a reasonable length, and preferably don't touch them while you're repotting. Just do it gently. But apart from that, they are very similar, very similar. Right, whoops, break my neck over the heater. Yeah, so that's everything in bloom. Not a huge amount, but not bad. And we do have quite a few buds coming, including a couple of Cattleyas that are chucking some spikes out. Not any of the ones that got that had to be repotted because of the damage to the roots and the bark they were in, but others that didn't have that treatment that are growing on fine, you know, so some of those have got buds as well. So we've got some more things to come as things go. You know, that's the way of the orchid world. Things come and things go, and that's what we've got at the moment. So end on that, I suppose, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for dropping by.